YouTube, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dion. I call this the crazy troll nation of YouTube. And I'm out of sorts because I just held up all of these palettes to do the screenshot for the thumbnail. And they were heavy. And I'm going to show you why they are heavy. This monthly roundup for August 2023. Today is the 24th. There's only, if I receive the Nomad palette, that'll be another palette I use this month. But we're not going to count that. And I need to use a palette I haven't used in a long time for a collab, and that video will go live on the 28th. We're not going to include that palette. So, but what we do have for August, as y'all know if you've been here, we have all of these bricks. We have the Blitz Astral Quad Nocturnal Nirvana. We have the two Tom Ford quads. One is Forbidden Pink, one is Rose Topaz. We have Nomad, Mountain Verde, Club Forest. I know I pronounced it wrong. Someone explained to me how to pronounce it. I still don't know how to pronounce it. I don't have the accent for it. And as far as rolling R's, like that doesn't happen on my tongue. And we have from Lethal Cosmetics, the Pure Metals collection. And this look, first time using it, was MAC in color, Connect in color, Hi-Fi color palette. So we're going to do our palette ranking. I don't know if it's fair to include the quads. So we're just going to do these separate because I right now I have no idea on where they're going to be. But being that everything else is 10 shadows or more, I don't know if that'll be fair to put these in. But I might though, because now I'm having thoughts. But anyway, if this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Dion. I think I said that. I call this the Crazy Troll Nation because sometimes I say stuff and then I forget that I said it, so then I say it again. I call this the Crazy Troll Nation because they're crazy. Just knowing it's okay to be yourself. If you do videos, just letting your authentic self shine through and loving yourself for it. Just being true to yourself and enjoying doing videos. And if you don't do videos, and whether you do or you don't, enjoying your time on YouTube, whatever channels you watch, whatever reason you're on YouTube for, just enjoying being here. The troll part is not caring too much about the beauty community standards. You set the standard for yourself. Try not to feel like you need to do what all the popular people are doing, using what they say you need to use, how you need to use it, what tools you need to use. Rock whatever you want to. You're the one paying for your makeup. It's your face. You have your preferences and your aesthetic. This is one of my preferences, messy grunge / punk rock, whatever ish with a dark lip. So just wearing whatever you want to, however you want to, and knowing that you are rocking it. Here, the bottom line is self-acceptance and self-love. Embracing your natural features, enhancing them if you want to, when you want to, but never feeling like you have to. Love yourself for who you are and for how you look, even without face paint on. That is the concept of the Crazy Troll Nation. Rocking what you want to, loving yourself for it, not caring too much what other people think, because what you think about yourself matters the most. I also have to let you know, if you're new here, I do curse sometimes in my videos because I curse sometimes, period. So we're going to get into the monthly roundup, and I almost didn't do it because I knew it was going to be a lot of Pat, because even though July was month of McGrath, August we were still using McGrath, and then Sunlit came out. I caught it on sale before it launched, 30% off, so I went ahead and got that. So I was doing looks with that, and then I had the nerve to start pairing it with other motherships, and so that's why we have all of these. The only ones we didn't pair this month, the only one I didn't pair with Sunlit was number 2, which is Sublime. And so I have 1 through 6, 10, and 11. So I have 8 motherships now. And so I have them in no particular order, and I need to put them in some type of order. But I can tell you right now, oh goodness. All right, I'm going to put this stuff in order, and then we're going to come back and rank them. I did rank them and I wrote it down because when I did this before, I confused my damn self. So we have 12 here. We used 13. Number 13, I've already decluttered it. I thought of someone who might like it. They said yes, they accepted it, and so I put it in the mail and sent it off, and that was the Pat McGrath Quad Venusian Sunrise. Something with those tones, I just did not like how they looked on me. I think I did 2 looks, and I just couldn't get it. I just couldn't get with it, and I didn't want to just have it here just for the sake of just having it sit here. So it now has a happy home. I'm hoping it's a happy home because she was excited to get it. She thinks it's beautiful, and she likes the looks that I did with it, and so I'm hoping that she enjoys that palette. So now we're going to rank the ones that are here. So number 12, Lethal Cosmetics, the Pure Metals Collection. This is number 12 because my lids were burning. We used these 4 of the Pure Metals and we mixed them with shades, some of the matte shades from over here. I really loved the looks, but my eyes were burning. So I didn't even use these 2, no, these 2 down here. We used these 4. I keep wanting to try them again, and part of me is thinking, I did put them right on top of the Fenty primer because for me it is a tacky primer. And because I really liked how they showed up, because I really liked how they looked, I'm wanting to try them again over maybe a paint pot, maybe just to add another layer, because when I use the paint pot to add shadow bases, I still put on the Fenty primer, then I put on a paint pot, and then I put the shadow on. And so part of me wants to try that because that'll give me another layer between my skin and the shadow. But then part of me is like, girl, don't push it. It took you 2 days to recover. Don't even try it again. And so this is only number 12 because I had a bad reaction to the Pure Metals, to these 4. I didn't try these 2. I'm still on the fence on whether to try it again or not. I really like how shiny they are. I really did enjoy the looks, but my lids were just like, no. And I did try to keep it on as long as possible. And I think I put in a video like somewhere over here where I put text that even after I washed it off, like my lids were swollen and just, yeah, I think it's a no. Me remembering that, I'm not going to try these again. And so somehow, well, as shadows do, because I have sensitive lids, it absorbed into my skin, and that's why my lids were swollen even after washing it off and very irritated, and my eyes were just not happy. And so I just need to figure out what to do with these. I do know I'm going to declutter them, but for now, they're going to stay in the palette, because if I take these 6 out, I'm going to be like, I need to fill up this palette. And I don't have the sleeves that each shadow came in to put it back into their sleeve, and I do have an empty 6 pan, and so I could just put these 6, which are from Wildflower, back into the 6 pan, and then just sit this somewhere else so I won't see it and be like, oh, I have all this empty, you know, space here for more shadows. And so I'm still deciding. So while I am in the midst of deciding, they will just stay in here. And also part of me is thinking just use 1 or 2 like as a topper on top of a primer or on top of a shadow, and put this on top of that shadow, because I really like how they look, but my lids are like, bitch, no. So yes, I'm still struggling with that, as you can see. Number 11. Number 11 is number 11. I did 9 looks with this palette by itself. For all of these palettes, I will put the playlist down below. Even though I did 9 looks with this palette, then I had the nerve to pair it with other palettes. And for the most part, I liked all the looks that I did, but this is just not my color story. Like, it is just not my vibe. I am proud of myself for doing all the looks that I did. I am proud to have done looks different than what I've seen other people do. It's not a bad palette. It's a beautiful palette. I do love this shade that people are hating. I'm loving this shade that people do not like. I love this shade in this one. These 2 on lower lash line make me look sick. These 2 mattes. And even putting one of these on the outer corner, I think I had put this on the outer corner and then put this next to it. This overtook that. Like these 2 pinks are strong. And I actually do like this shade as a brow bone and an inner corner highlight. Most of the skin tint shades are too icy for me, but this one I like. And so it sounded like I like this palette, right? I do think it's a lovely palette, and I do like the color story. This shade will take over too. I have 3 different looks, but this shade took over, and those 3 looks look the same. And it's just not my color story. And you see me smiling because I think it's a beautiful palette. And I remember saying in, I think, my 5 look video, because then I did like a review, I wonder if, because my expectations were so low for this palette, I'm wondering if that's why I like it, because my expectations were like super low. But even with that though, pink, this is not my vibe. But I was curious about it because of liking Moonlit Seduction, and so I wanted to try it. I'm glad I did. For right now, it's a keeper. We did 9 looks, and I think we paired it with either 3 or 4 other palettes. And so that's another 4 looks. And so that's 13 looks total. So I feel like I got my money's worth. If I never use this again, I feel like I got my money's worth. 30% off, I think it was like $90 and some change. I live in Delaware, there's no sales tax, and shipping was free. So for 90 bucks, I feel like I got my 90 bucks out of this. And so whether I keep it long term or not, even if it ends up in Macari and I sell it for like 50, 60 bucks, I feel like I got my money's worth out of this. And I do think if I put it in Macari that it would sell, because it is new and it would be not full price and not even the price I paid for it. So even if I sold it for 60, that means I spent 30 for it. I got $30 out of this palette. I really did. And I like the looks though, but for right now it's a keeper. Something may pop up and I'll be like, oh, you know, I want a bright red or this, even though one of my things is liking an entire palette and not just picking it up for one shade or, you know, a few shades. But, you know, we'll see. For right now, it's a keeper, but number 11 is number 11 just because it is not my vibe. And because those 2 pinks, they do not look flattering on me. I do like the majority of the looks that I did, but it's not, it doesn't call to me, even though it called to me to keep using it because I wanted to see just how much that palette can do. And I feel like I finally got to the point where I know what that palette can do. And so it's like, thank goodness, go away for a little while. But that's why it's number 11. Number 10 is number 10. I did not plan this, I promise you. This is Moonlit Seduction. I do like this palette. Why it ranks number 10 is because how we did 9 looks with this palette, 3 look the same, which means we had 7 different looks with this palette. This one, I only get 2.5 looks out of it. No matter what I do, a look looks like another look. So even though Sunlit has more versatility for me on its own than Moonlit Seduction, I like the tones in this better. And, you know, this is a gorgeous shade. It's green and then it's burgundy, and which is similar to this shade right here, which is Starry Night from MAC. And Melina said it best. She said it looks like VR Sextasy, a satin formula of VR Sextasy, excuse me. And ironically, in the live before she came on, I was saying this looked like VR Sextasy, this shade right here. And so I do like this better. I like the tones better. This is definitely a keeper. I don't pull it out often, but definitely between this one and 11, 10 ranks higher, even though 10 is number 10, which is still at the bottom. And again, because it's just not quite my vibe, and I only get 2.5 looks out of this. Now when I pair it, of course I get more, but I'm going off of just each palette on its own. And so what I'm thinking about is it my aesthetic? Do the colors call out to me? Do I enjoy using it? Do I get excited when I think about using it? That's what I'm going off of, not just, oh, this look was pretty so it ranks higher. No, I'm thinking about overall how I feel about the palette, period. And so that brings us to number 9, which is, this is almost like a pat ranking because we use so much pat. Number 9 is number 5, which is Bronze Seduction. Why? Because this is a basic bitch palette. We all have these tones, well, maybe not these tones, unless you're really heavy into indie brand dual chromes and multi-chromes. I don't, because most of them are pressed pigments and my lids don't tolerate them. So all of the multi-chromes, dual chromes, all the celestial shades in the Pat McGrath palettes, they are unique to me because I don't have all the other stuff. And so even if you just take these out, this is basic as hell. Very pretty, yes. And I do enjoy the looks that I do with this palette. It just doesn't call to me because this is one of my vibes. This isn't that. It is a beautiful palette. I think it's one of the more safe of the motherships because it is just so basic. And it is easy to use. It's easy to get nice looks out of here. But this is number 9 because it's basic. And even being basic is still above Moonlit and Sunlit Seduction. Oh, and this is Brown Seduction. So all the seductions are not really seducing me. All right, I don't know if this is a cheat or not. I'm going to rank these together, both of the Tom Ford quads. And this one, let me take out the little plastic jiggets. This one is Rose Topaz. That's what that looks like. And I'm ranking these together just because, you know, because it's my video and I'm gonna do what I want to do. No, because I couldn't decide which one would I rank higher. This one is Forbidden Pink. This one is Rose Topaz. So what? The first look I did was just a basic. Let's just put them on the lids and see what they do. The second look for both of these is why these ranked number 8. Because both those looks were smoky, and smoke is one of my vibes. And because of that, these are both keepers. And both of these are really easy to use. The shadows apply really easily. This shade here in this corner, it creased on me. And I was like, oh, maybe I didn't blend the primer out right. Like, I don't know. And I don't remember if this one creased on me, because this one and this one are the same formula. But I really like the looks. The first looks I did with them were like basic, ethereal. Let's just put the colors on, see what it is, do the typical, you know, thing. But the second look, for both the second looks, I took the deepest shade, put it all over the lid, and then I put the metallic shimmer on top of it. Beautiful. And because of that, both of these are keepers. And so these together are number 8. I would not mix them because one is cool tone and one is warm tone. And even though I've done something similar to that before with other palettes, it's with shades that were within the same palette. And so in a way, it's like, okay, they are going to go depending on how you blend them. But I haven't felt any motivation to pair the two together. And I think it would be interesting. Maybe one day I'll do it, maybe I won't. So that's number 8. Number 7 is Mothership number 4, which is Decadence. And this is the only one that's all metallic. And even right now, I can still smell the vanilla. I do have sensitive sinuses. A lot of people can't smell it. I can still smell it. And I've had this March this year made a year. So this is about a 1.5 years old. I enjoy this palette. I've used it mostly on its own for a long time because this one blends out into a matte for me. And so does this one. And I always was hearing people say, it's a nice companion palette. I've just done looks with just this by itself. You can do all metallic looks if you want to, just like you can do all matte looks if you want to. Like, try not to feel like you can't just do what you want to do with your own makeup. You know what I mean? And aside from pairing it, Torrance and I did a collab with this palette. And I just did something wacky and crazy, and I was all the way there for it. And I think I did a 2-tone look. That's what it was. Because I was trying to think of what can I do with this palette I haven't done before. And so I did a 2-tone look, and I really enjoyed it. And it's ironic that him and I chose similar shades, and our looks were so different. And that's the joy in makeup. However your style is, your aesthetic, your shadow placement, you can use the same shades as someone else and come up with something completely different. And I love that about makeup. And so that was an exciting collab, and I'm hoping him and I will collab again soon. We said we were, but time, life, and stuff just happens. But I believe eventually that we will get back in line to do another collab. But this is number 7. because it is unique. And actually, all of these are unique to my collection. My collection is small. And I like it that way on purpose because I don't like to have a lot of dupes in my collection. So Decadence is number 7. Number 6, that's what this is. The MAC Connecting Color Hi-Fi Color Eyeshadow Palette. We use 7 of these shades. This is one of my vibes, y'all. And that's why this is number 6. The messy grunge slash, you know, bordering punk rockish, and with the different colored liner, and I do have one blue mascara and the purple lip. But even, you know, not looking at the lip, this right here, this excites me. That was my first time using this palette. Something that I normally don't do. I did not plan out the look. And it was for a live too. So I'm in a live like, what if we do such and such, and just put stuff on. And this is what we got. And I'm here for it. I'm digging it. This is the shade here that I said reminds me of your ecstasy. This one right here. So you have that burgundy-ish. You see this? And then you have that greenish, grayish. That right there. Look at that. So that's the one I was saying looks like VR's Ecstasy. That's the one that's here. It blended into the blue. This shade here. On the inner corner is this shade. They all just... This excites me. That's why this is number 6. This... The Nomad one... I'm not even going to say the name because I know I'm going to say it wrong. This ranked number 5 because I don't think to use it often. I don't. But then when I do, I'm reminded of how much I love it. So it's kind of weird. And I think it's because when I think in my mind of the color story, I'm just like... But then when I use it, and I think I recreated 2 looks that I had previously done, and I'm like, this is a really nice palette. And so this is number 5 because it surprises me because I don't think to use it. I really don't. I seriously don't think to use it. And when I'm due, I'm like, this is really nice. And even though I like swamp water, grunge, punk rock, vampy, smoky, I also like bright. And this does have bright colors in it. I was going to point at these, but this one and this one show up the same on me, which is a pet peeve of mine, is when shadows in a palette look like another shadow in a palette, because then it's like, why are you there? But it surprises me every time I use it how much I do still really like it. And so that's why this is number 5. Number 4 is... Y'all saw my face just light up. I think I just gouged the shadow. Number 4 is Midnight Sun. This is the one I think I gouged. Like there's a little thing right there with the paper. This is my vibe. This is swamp water, messy grunge. And it's because of these shades right here. And then you throw this in. This right here and this one. And also the other shades too. But I'm speechless. This is my vibe, period. And that's why this is number 4. I get excited when I think about this palette. If someone says, let's do a collab, Mothership number 6, I'm like, ooh, I get to use it again. Not like, oh man, I gotta use that again. I am always excited to pick up this palette. When I was pairing it with the other Motherships, I was just excited to see what it was going to do paired with other stuff. This excites me. And that's why this is number 4. Number 3, this is not on purpose. Number 3 is number 3. Mothership number 3, Subversive. Shout out to Jazz. She sent me the name card. And unlike me just cutting it square, look how she put the... I love it. Because this, for some reason, when I had this one, I didn't think to cut the card that it would fit inside the palette, because the way it is, it doesn't fit inside the palette. So now I just have Mothership number 2 that doesn't have the name card. But this is Subversive. And this is the smoke. This is smoke. No matter what you do in here, you're going to get smoke. And even when I paired it, what did I do? I forget what I put for outer corner. I think I put deep shade and then put this next to it. I think, don't quote me on that. And it was beautiful. I don't think I've ever done that before. But then now I'm thinking maybe it wasn't deep shade I put next to it. No, it wasn't. I don't know. Maybe is it Extreme Black? I don't know. But whatever I put it next to, I was thinking, did I ever put that? next to that before? Because it just like caught me off guard, like, whoa, this is bomb. Like, and I didn't remember doing it before. But I get excited about this palette because whatever I do, you're going to get smoke. Even with Gigabyte, as bright as it is, if you put it next to this one, or next to the black, next to this one, you know, put this lower lash line, or whatever. All of these shades in here are beautiful. And even this one is a dual chrome too. So it's kind of like a blue and then it's kind of like a purple. And so it's a surprise, like, what is it going to look like next to this shade? What is it going to look like if I put it next to that one? And so there's an element of surprise for me, which excites me because it's like, okay, I don't know if it's going to look nice, but we're going to do something. And then it comes out nice. And it's like, Troll did that thing. This is my vibe because it's smoky. Midnight Sun is my vibe because it's swamp water grungy. This is my vibe because it's messy grunge, punk rockish. So, you know, each one of these palettes that's ranking up higher than, I guess, halfway, they're one of my preferred aesthetics, if not all rolled up into one, depending on what I do about it. Number 2 is Mothership number 1. This is Subliminal. This is still my favorite because I still remember the very first time I used it. It caught me off guard. I went back and forth over, okay, am I going to get it? Am I not going to get it? It looks kind of cool toned. I don't prefer me in all cool tones. I don't mind like neutrals and cools mixed, or if it's cool leaning neutral, but just straight cool tones to me I don't think flatter my complexion. So I kept looking at this like, I don't know. I mean, it leans neutral in a way, but primarily it looks kind of cool. But you know what? The first look I ever did, I said, I'm going to be simple. I used the top row. I did a look. I freaking loved it. And I was just like, what's happening? Second look, I did the bottom row. Loved it. I was like, what's happening? That's why, and I think when I did my pat ranking, this was number 1, I think, because it surprised me. All the other pat palettes, you know, I just do looks, and maybe by the 3rd or 4th, I'm like, okay, this is bomb. I love it. Out the gate, top row, loved it. Second row, loved it. And since then, every look I've done with this palette, I've loved it. And that's why it ranks so high, because it surprised me. And it's just like, yo, like what? And I hesitated to buy it, and it was 40% off the end of 2022. I kept thinking, you know, no, it looks too cool. No. And I kept checking, waiting for the sale to be over. The sale was not over for like weeks. It seemed like it was about a week or 2, a week and a half, whatever. So finally I got it. And you know what? I am so glad that I did. And so this is number 2 for my palette ranking. Number 1, I love it. This is also Pat McGrath, and it's a quad. This is Blitz, Astral Quad, Nocturnal, Nirvana. This ranked number 1 because even though it's not, it can go swamp water. The first look I did, first of all, I'm like, we're going to put the colors on. I put all 40s on my lid. That look was friggin' amazing. And it was an all shimmer look. These are all metallics. We only use these 4. And someone said it was like mermaid vibes, and someone else said it's like a peacock vibe. The look was beautiful. Just this palette by itself. Beautiful. The second look I did was for an IG challenge, for the Beauty and the Soul challenge. And I experimented because I had wanted to do, you know, outer corner dark, light color, dark color, light color. So the same exact look, just on the opposite eye instead of dark, dark, light, light. Dark, light, dark, light. And I used this palette. I believed we used these 2 shades, I believe. And even just looking at one eye, it was nice. When you look at the other eye, it was a whole different look. And the one where the dark shade was inside and the lighter shade was outside, that was some serious messy grunge right there, and it was gorgeous. But for me, I would wear that out, and people were like, oh, I like this eye better than the other one. I'm like, it's supposed to wear it together. But anyway, because the idea was to do the same exact look on both sides. Dark, light, and I loved it. I loved it. So this is number 1 because of that. And I wouldn't have thought that 4 shadows would be number 1 over 10 pan palettes, the 18 pan Nomad palette, 12 pan palettes, but it is. So we're going to go backwards. Blitz, Astral, Quad, Nirvana, Nocturnal Nirvana, excuse me, is number 1. Subliminal is number 2. Subversive is number 3. Midnight Sun is number 4. The Nomad Forest, this is number 5. MAC Palette Hi-Fi Color is number 6. Decadence is number 7. The Tom Ford Quads, they're both number 8. Number 9 is Bronze Seduction. Number 10 is number 10. Number 11 is number 11. I promise you I didn't do that on purpose. And I didn't realize it until I started the ranking. Number 12 is the Pure Metals, only because I had that bad reaction. And number 13, which I already sent to someone else, was the Venusian Sunrise Pat McGrath Quad. Let me know what you think about my ranking. If you agree, if you don't. I'm not easily offended. I am not. So just say how you feel. I'm not going to say keep it classy, because sometimes I ain't classy. It is just what it is. But let me know what you think of this ranking. If you have any of these palettes, let me know your thoughts on them. If you've been watching all the Pat McGrath videos that I've been doing, and you have Pat McGrath palettes, let me know what your ranking would be. If you have them all, how would you rank them? And even mixing in the Nomad and the Nocturnal Nirvana Quad, the MAC Quad, Tom Ford. If you have Lethal Cosmetics Pure Metals, let me know what you think of how I numbered these. And it is about personal preference, and that's why my feelings are not easily hurt. It's just about personal preferences, what you like for yourself. What I will say is I was looking for videos for the Pure Metals. There's hardly any videos, or they did a look with mattes and metallics from other palettes and then just took one of these and popped on the lid. Like, I'm the only one that I saw that just did a look with just putting more than one of these on the lid by themselves. Because I was trying to see, like, what are people thinking about them, because I haven't really noticed it popping up in my feed. And so I did a search, and it's just like, where it at? So anyway, let me know your thoughts. Thank you for being here. And as always, self-acceptance. I feel like I'm talking so loud. As always, self-acceptance, self-love. That is the Crazy Stroll Nation way. Thank you, and you will see me soon.